G'day everyone, I'm really excited today because I'm having my first look at the brand new 2020 SWA Saragosa from Shimano. Now I've been a big fan of the Saragosa reels for a long time, and Shimano reckon they've managed to make a really good reel even better, and this is the product. So I'm having my first look at it today. I'm going to run through a couple of the things that they've added to this reel, and first up they've actually added a couple of extra sizes into the range, which is awesome. Now, if you remember the original Saragosa, which was, I think it was a blue and gold sort of model, before the one before this, that actually had these extra sizes in as well, and then they took them away and now they've brought them back, which is awesome. So there's a 14,000 and an 18,000 size being added in. So 8 different models in the Saragosa now. I think it's 5,000, 6,000, 8,000, 10,000, 14, 18, 20 and 25,000. So big range, anywhere from small stuff like this all the way up to your GTs and whatever else with the big sizes, which is pretty cool. But even the smallest model, which is the one that I've got in my hand here, the 5,000, has 10 kilos of drag, which is absolutely heaps. And so, you know, these reels have got a reputation for being really tough, and that's definitely one thing that they've maintained with this SWA. 10 kilos of drag, and I think the 25,000 has like 20 kilos of drag, which is monstrous. So definitely, yeah, no skimping in the drag department. And they use what Shimano are calling a cross carbon drag. If you actually pull this off, it's actually, you can see that drag system is new and supposedly watertight. They're saying it's watertight, which is pretty cool and handy because you get water in those drags, and it's yeah, it's going to deteriorate pretty quickly. But this one is supposedly watertight, so that's always going to be handy, and that's going to help for the longevity of your reel as well. One other thing that I've just noticed as well is when I do that, they have cranked up the drag clicker, so it sounds closer to what a Stella's drag clicker would sound like. It's just a bit meatier. Whether that's your thing or not, I'm not sure, but I'm definitely a big fan of it. Speaking of the Stella, Shimano are telling us that they've added a few of the technologies that originated in the Stella into this reel, which is what's making them superior to the last Saragosa. Now, I'm not usually too into these fancy sort of technology names, but these are built with what they call a Hagane body. I think Hagane is the way to say it. Body and gears as well, which I'm pretty sure is the way that they're actually forged, and that's meant to give you extra strength and stay really rigid. And you think about it when you're winding the handle of a reel, if they're not rigid and there's movement, then you're wasting energy in that movement. So the more rigid a reel is, the more efficient the motion is. Those technologies that, yeah, originated in the Stella are now being used in lower sort of budget models like the Saragosa. Yeah, they're raising the quality of reels in this sort of zone. So what they're calling X-Protect is like the waterproofing or sealing sort of rating, and it's rated to what's called an IPX8, and that IP rating it's both a rating used in all sorts of different things, but it's a rating in terms of like durability for things to knock it, and that's what the X stands for. So they're not actually giving you a rating on things knocking it. Like an iPhone will have a IP something rating on how hard you can hit it before the screen cracks or whatever. They haven't given us a rating on this, but the next rating, the 8, that is how waterproof it is. So the higher the number, the more waterproof it is, and it goes up from like not waterproof at all to able to sustain, you know, keep water out from a spray or a hard jet or completely submersible, and the more waterproof you get, the higher the number. So IPX8 is pretty good, and I'm pretty sure that is because of a new way that they're doing this line roller bearing. Now, I'm not too technically minded with this sort of stuff. I sort of take Shimano's word for it, but Jason Waugh who's a reel expert, does reel servicing for a living. He's had a really good look at this reel, pulled it apart, and he'll have a little bit more technical info in that regard in the September edition of Western Angler. So definitely keep an eye out for that if you're a bit more technically minded and want to sort of delve into the finer details of how this stuff works. But an IPX8 rating of waterproofing is really, really good. So supposedly, yeah, the waterproofing means better longevity, and a line roller bearing is usually the most exposed sort of function of a reel, and if we're spraying them with salt water in the, you know, from the side of the boat or wherever it may be, it's that line roller bearing that's usually going to get salt water in there first. So yeah, a sealed line roller bearing and IPX8 is generally going to mean longevity for your reel. It's going to take longer to corrode, and you're going to be able to catch lots of fish for a lot longer time, so that's always really good. And to be honest with you, you can talk about all these fancy technologies and little details and things, but in my opinion, a reel has to catch fish, be easy to use, and has to last a long time to be a really good reel, in my opinion. And I had the last model Saragosa, well, I still got it. I've had it for 4 or 5 years and it has not missed a beat at all. I've had it serviced once, I think, in that time. It probably is due for a bit of love at the moment, but that's been an absolute cracker of a reel. And yeah, so longevity, in my opinion, is the biggest thing, and the Saragosa has definitely got the reputation for that. And I assume upgrading things like the waterproofing and that sort of stuff, that's going to mean that this newer SWA model is going to be even better than the last one. So I obviously can't give an opinion on longevity since this is the first time I've used it. We got out for a fish this morning and definitely didn't set the world on fire. There wasn't too much willing to bite, but we caught some sambos and pinkies and stuff and put a bend in the rod. And overall, I was really happy with this Saragosa. I thought it was really comfortable to use as well, and that's a big factor too. And lots of different reels have different shapes and they feel different as well, especially when you're still comparing other brands as well. But I thought this was a really comfortable reel to use. But probably the biggest thing I noticed, and Shimano are pretty quick to tell you that this reel is a lot lighter than the last range of Saragosa reels. And I think that's a really important thing that they've updated, because probably my one criticism of the last Saragosa range was that they are quite heavy. And when I say heavy, like literally heavy in hand. And yeah, if you're casting all day or jigging all day, they can start to get, you know, it gets a bit strenuous. So the lighter your gear, the more energy you're gonna have when you hook that monster fish. So they've changed this body shape, which is pretty noticeable when you compare it to the old model. They've slimmed it down. I think it's a compact body, and yeah, so they've managed to get the weight down. This one weighs 450 grams. So definitely lighter than the old ones, and that's the whole way through. Even the 25,000 is lighter than the old one as well, so that's a really big positive too. So all in all, I think in that medium price bracket, in my opinion, this is a really, really quality reel. And we're not going to know its longevity until obviously people have it out on the water for a while and can really put it through its paces through a long period of time, and sort of extended use. We're not going to know that until that happens. But my first impressions of this reel are that it's going to be a really nice quality reel. I mean, Shimano are obviously really quality build, all those kinds of things. Comes with that 10-year warranty, which is always really good to have. And Shimano are usually really good with warranty claims and those sorts of things. I've had the odd claim in my experience with Shimano reels, and they've always been really good to sort of sort those out when there is a problem. So yeah, all in all, I think this is going to be a really quality reel, and definitely at that price point, you can't go wrong. So if you want to read the full write-up that Jason and I have put together about this new Saragosa range, that'll be in the September edition of Western Angler. So you can go to your local newsagent or wherever stocks Western Angler, or there's the digital version online as well, westernangler.com.au. So jump on, have a read. Jason will dissect and give you the opinion of someone who knows a little bit more about the ins and outs of these technologies than I do. And hopefully by then I would have caught some nice quality fish on this, and I'll be able to tell you all about those as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you enjoyed it. We'll have lots more product reviews coming for you in the next couple of weeks. See you next time.